On April 27, 1822, I, Hiram Ulysses Grant, was born to Jesse and Hannah Grant. Although to you I'm probably better known as Ulysses S. Grant, my middle name, and the S, which really stands for nothing. Ever since I was a small boy, I've been good with the horses. Ever since I was 9 years old, the people from my town and community would come to me if they ever needed a horse broken in, or if they just needed advice for anything. Growing up, I really had no intent to serve in the Army, but my father thought otherwise and sent me to West Point so I could get a decent education at the expense of the government. After West Point, I planned on being a mathematics teacher, and since there was no real commitment to serve afterwards, there was no real dishonor in not serving in the war after you graduated. But, however, I would end up serving in the Mexican War anyway. In West Point, I was never really a Golden Star student. I was more average. Only excelled in classes with my horses. Even then, I set an all-time record for a high jump with my horse that lasted all of 25 years. I graduated in 1843. The bottom half of my class. Nothing to really brag about. And after that, I went into the Mexican War, where I fought bravely and received 2 medals, and fought in every single battle, except for one, Buena Vista. But enough of that. My real achievements were in the Civil War, where I defeated the Confederacy and preserved the Union. Not single-handedly, however. One of my first major battles was the Battle of Shiloh, where I was the colonel of the 7th Congressional District Regiment of Illinois, because Abraham Lincoln himself called me back to be in the Army and fight for him, because he knew, bottom down, deep in his heart, that I would win him the war. Shiloh was a bloody but true victory, and that doomed the Mississippi Valley forever. There were high losses on both sides, but the Union, myself, had the resources to replenish our army, guns, ammo, and men, and food, everything that you needed. I beat the Confederates, and I wished to pursue, but I had not the heart to order the men who had fought desperately for 2 days, lying in the mud and rain when they were not fighting. And I had no right to positively order Buell and his troops to follow. My next battle, the Battle of Vicksburg, was another one of my major victories. Vicksburg is a port along the Mississippi River, a major port to the Confederacy. On December 29th, I attempted to sail up the Yazoo River, a Mississippi tributary, which proved to fail. Then, in early 1863, I once again attempted, but to no avail, to hack through the swamps above Vicksburg. Then, on April 16, 1863, I sent a fleet of gunboats and supply barges up the river to hopefully break the lines of Confederate guns. This proved to work. In just a couple of days, I had Vicksburg completely surrounded, and we laid siege upon them. And after 2 months, I ordered unconditional surrender from Commander Simon B. Buckler. The Union now controlled the Mississippi, and I was a hero. Another battle, the Battle of Chattanooga, Union General William S. Rosecrans was in deep trouble, and I needed to help him. His troops were starving, and winter was just around the corner. So, President Abraham Lincoln himself named me the commander and general of all the armies from the Appalachian to the Mississippi. So there, I ordered 8,000 troops to repair and to build railroads leading to Chattanooga so that we could get our supplies and the men that we needed. In just 40 days, we repaired and built 102 miles of railroads and 180 bridges. Those bridges and railroads proved to much, much good. For we got the supplies, the food, the ammo, the guns, and the men that we needed to win the battle. On November 24th, we took Lookout Mountain and silenced the Confederate guns that were booming above us. And November 25th, men under General Tecumseh Sherman killed the last line of defense that the Confederates had We defeated the last resistance branch on the Confederate bridge, winning the battle. Because Briggs retreated and I'd won another victory. The siege of Petersburg, my last major battle. June 15th and 18th, 1864, I attacked Petersburg and completely surrounded the area with my men. And on April 2nd, 1863, Lee retreated. And on April 3rd, I took Richmond, Virginia. What a glorious achievement it was to have captured Richmond, the capital of the Confederacy. And when Abraham Lincoln walked in and sat down at Jefferson Davis's desk, my men cheered in his name and my honor. Just 6 days later, on April 9th, 1865, General Lee of the Confederacy surrendered the Northern Virginian Army to me, and I knew the war had been over already. But then, much later, on April 26, 1865, the last remaining significant armies were surrendered to General Tecumseh Sherman on his glorious march to the sea. After the war, I was invited with Abraham Lincoln to go to Ford's Theater myself, but I declined because I wanted to see my family. There, he was shot and killed by John Wilkes Booth. May he rest in peace. After that, I was elected President of the United States, Ulysses S. Grant. In just 7 years, I had gone from a leather shop clerk to a 4-star general of the Army to the President of the United States of America. I served 2 terms in which I did all right. I did my job. People respected me. I pride myself in knowing that I preserved the Union, and I did a good job. Thank you. I say goodbye to you. Yea, the Union.